Welcome back to the Apex Racing League's Renault 3.5 Championship. We are here at Road Atlanta, Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Marco Barbonet. Of course, we will just say hello to all our YouTube viewers. You have missed some action in the past 5 minutes. Fortunately, no racing action, just us grumbling on about this track. But we have only got 1 more minute until we go live for race 1 of the afternoon / evening, wherever you are. And of course, yeah, we've already talked a little bit about this circuit, Marco, with how the elevation changed. That race start, I kind of didn't have a great day on Thursday on that race start. If you get hung out to dry in that turn 1, you can be in a lot of issue. And of course, turn 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 are all very tight corners as well.
Yes, I noticed this track is one of those tracks where you have at least 2 or 3 places where if you get the line wrong and you put your wheels, left side wheels or right side wheels on the grass, you are going for a ride. Turn 1, many times I went a little bit wide, then you immediately lose traction, you go into the grass, and then that grass section is very wide, so you might slide all the way through the chicane. And also, like we talked about, the left-hander after the S's, that's another very tricky corner. And also in the final corner in the chicane, it's very easy to lose the car and go into the grass. And these cars are not very resistant, especially open wheelers. So you don't want to hit anything, and you don't want to hit curbs particularly hard, especially with this Formula Renault 3.5 car.
The driver's just gridding up now. Matej Kastani is on the pole position. He was 0.6 of a second clear of Thomas Knoll. Byron Daly, of course, won his first race of the season at Okayama just a week ago. He starts from the second row alongside Joshua Chin. And then behind that, it's Alessandro Roccatelli and Jamie Wilson. And then it's Cudmore and Berta. Newton hopefully will take the start. In fact, he is on the grid now, so he will take the start. For Apex Racing UK, a little bit out of position. Certainly watch out for him. David Strid, unfortunately, may well be on your grid, but he is one of the stewards. Just gives him an extra few abilities as a steward, I believe, to, of course, keep this race in order. Although I seriously doubt that's going to be too much of an issue. Of course, Kazastani starting from the pole position, made a couple of mistakes last time out at Okayama. He'll be looking to get back to the top step of the podium and make some points up on the championship leaders, undoubtedly, Marco.
Absolutely, we will see second week in a row that the learn to race guys, which also actually have changed name. I've had a notice from Kevin Ellis Jr. That team is no more. They are now Racecraft Esports, and I think they are going through some structural changes there. So that's why they are not here. And this will give once again these guys that have had less of a exposure in the championship a chance to do well. And we will see if Calestani can profit and finally get that first win. It's great to have Joshua Chin as well. We are waiting for him, and then I think we can start.
Yep, here we go. Matej Kastani from the pole position. Thomas Knoll alongside him at Road Atlanta. And away we go. Great start there from Kastani. It's not a good start for Knoll whatsoever. Daly already up into second position. A little bit of a change just behind. I think Roccatelli's been able to hold off Wilson. Unfortunately, we didn't get Chin on the starting grid, so he won't be taking part in this one. But it's not too many changes then. The most notable one, Byron Daly, up a position. He was electric on the opening lap at Okayama, and he's looking electric right now. He's right on the tail of the race leader. The driver currently third in the championship, second in the championship, apologies. And he's going to have a great chance into this chicane, and Knoll will fancy his chances as well.
Already a three-car breakaway at the front of the field with Calestani, Daly, and Knoll. Roccatello and Wilson are following closely behind. I'm a bit surprised that Joshua Chin didn't take the start because he was active in practice and in qualifying, so maybe an issue as Wilson gets past Roccatello way before the braking zone, and also pass for the lead maybe.
Oh, Calistani took the normal racing line, so he's okay this time around, and now just sprinting away. Great shot from the rear of this car. Really can appreciate the elevation change you get round this circuit. And now getting very close again. Daly having to go defensive
Ooh.
against Noel. Noel almost off the circuit there, and Daly almost running wide. And you can just see making just half a mistake can cost you so much time. But I must say, through this part of the circuit, Byron Daly is like electric. You can see how much time he's gained on Matej Kalistani.
Yes, we have the best seat in the house for the fight, and just to have an idea of one lap on board with one of these guys, Thomas Knoll, you can see all the corners we talked about in the pre-race, if you were lucky to be with us on Facebook and Twitch stream. And now the track changes completely. Those two right-handers and then this very, very long straight. And as Joshua Chin, I think he's back on the track, but very, very far back, I think. And now you go down the hill, hard braking zone, see the draft very strong, the way Noel is able to close down on Daly. Up the hill again, you see those three signs on the bridge, those are there to tell you where to position your car if you don't want to crash in the final corner, believe it or not, so a little bit of help for these drivers.
Here comes Newton, up into 5th place now, started in 9th. Overtaken 3 drivers so far, and of course Chin had his issue not taking to the grid. So, yeah, good progress so far from Newton. You can see he's not that far off the race leaders. He's only about 4.5 seconds off the lead at the moment. I doubt he's going to make it back up as Max Berta has a little bit of an issue for no tech drama. Fortunately, not too much of a drama for him there. Byron Daly, within half a second, just losing a little bit of time. You can see just behind Thomas Knoll losing a whole heap of time. That was about a second loss, and he's going to continue losing time down this entire straight. The gap between the top two decreasing to about 0.4 of a second, 3.5 of a second. But Daly, not really too interested in making the move right now, I think. And, well, I found this the other day at least. Very easy to pick up a slowdown in that chicane. So those drivers need to make sure they don't do that today.
Yeah, one of those chicanes where if you are a centimeter away from the, what iRacing deems okay, you get a very hefty penalty. Wilson, was up to P4, and there's Byron Daly around in the first corner going up the hill, and that's a big, big problem for him. It seems like everybody was able to avoid him, but this is a big gift for everyone. Calestani, because now he has a big lead, and Noel, Wilson, all the other guys that go up one position, we will get a replay as soon as possible, but meanwhile we focus on this great battle between Newton and Wilson.
Yep, Chimera versus Apex Racing UK. Not sure if Chimera taking part in the World F3 Championship was debuting this Wednesday. So hopefully we'll see these teams battle against each other again. And straight through that's very simple for Scott Newton. Will he be able to defend into the chicane? Wilson might try to come back, but I think that was the wise thing to do there. Just staying behind his rival. Newton up into the podium places now, and he's still only 2.5 seconds off P2. So certainly one more position, very possible for him.
Let's get on with the replay then. This is Byron Daly, who's sitting in P2, just behind Matteo Calestani. Oh, that curb. This car doesn't like the curves. This is something that we've learned that we know now. I know especially well. And it only took just a little bit of curb there for Daly to lose it and go around. And those are some precious positions that he lost, and a big gift for Calestani, who now has 2.8 seconds over Thomas Knoll, as Newton is trying to pull away from Jamie Wilson and trying to get close to Thomas Knoll in second place.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the times between these guys, see if Newton can catch up to Knoll. He's got a while, hasn't he? He's got 14.5 minutes to catch him. So, well, if he can get on it, Scott Newton, he could, well, find himself in a top 2 position, which would be his best result of the season. I believe, I don't think he's picked up a podium yet. Of course, that only came in mid-season. I think this is only his 3rd meeting of the championship. And all of a sudden, the battle's really dying down out there. But I'm sure we are going to see Daly, of course, make his way back up through the field. On that last lap, Thomas Knoll managed to take out nearly half a second, 0.4 of a second, out of Matej Kalestani. Gap down to 1.7 seconds, and Castine losing a little bit more time on this lap as well. So, yeah, he's bringing himself back in with a chance as Thomas Knoll.
Yeah, I'm looking at Calesani losing a lot of time in the first part of this lap. Thomas Knoll is pushing really hard, but now the gap... it seems like listening to the engines, something is not right with Calestani. He's losing and losing and losing. 1.3 seconds now.
Yeah, he lost 0.2 of a second just down that straight, and the slipstream effect is pretty strong in this car. It's not strong enough, though, to gain you that amount of time. Noel just struggling a little bit through the chicane, so that gap's gone back up to 1.5 seconds. But overall in that last lap, 1.1 seconds faster for the driver in second place. The top three are separated by 3.8 seconds now. And, well, Matteo Castone really does seem to have an issue out there. He wasn't struggling for straight line speed earlier on. He does seem to be now.
Yeah, either he picked up a slowdown, a very, very long one in the previous lap, but he's still losing a bit. The gap now 1.4 and getting, bouncing between 1.3 and 1.5 now. But yes, and of course, if you keep losing, and he's losing a lot, if Noel gets into the slipstream zone, that gap can go down super quickly as I think Daly is trying to put a move on Roccatello. No, sorry, it was Roccatello pushing on Jamie Wilson, but let's go back to the front because the gap is almost down to 1 second now.
Yeah, just down that one straight, it's about quarter of a second difference. And once he gets into the slipstream, that's going to be escalated even more. The top three getting closer and closer. Matteo Calistani, what is this lap going to be? Much better than his last lap, 1 second faster than his previous lap. So a 1 minute 7.48. Thomas Knoll a 1 minute 7.2. Scott Newton 1 minute 7.0. So you can see that they're all getting closer to one another. Calistone with a much stronger lap that time, but right now it's looking inevitable that he's going to be caught by the end of this.
Yes, as Roccatello is trying to put some pressure on Jamie Wilson as they go through the S's with Byron Daly trying to come back after his big mistake just a couple of laps ago, as we are getting closer and closer to the halfway mark of this race. At the front, gap is 1.3 seconds, 1.9 between Knoll and Newton.
Of course, these three getting closer and closer to one another. Roccatello much faster down the straight, and he might even have a chance at Jamie Wilson going into the chicane. He looks to the inside, does the Italian. But the gap wasn't there, and you can see how it's quite difficult to stay close to your rival through that part of the track. These cars are quite aero dependent, and so just a little bit of turbulent air can cost you quite badly. You really need the car to be at absolute tip-top to carry the most speed, but really strong through turn one there is Roccatello, just seemingly a lot more confident. And just missing the apex, loses that time that he gained, gap 0.6 of a second. You can see how close Byron Daly is now, and he's going to be looking for a move as soon as possible.
Yes, all of a sudden I was looking at the relative and there comes Daly. So whilst Roccatello isn't able to make the move on Wilson, Daly can profit from it now. All basically they will be very close with Roccatello and Daly having both the slipstream over Wilson. Let's see if they have also the DRS activated, because this could be a nice passing opportunity as the gap in front is getting smaller and smaller now, 0.9 of a second. As we go through the chicane one more time, and the status quo remains the same.
Oh, here comes Byron Daly down the inside into the barn corner. They can both go flat out through that barn corner. And now just pulling maybe back ahead is Roccatello. But he's going to be brave to go around the outside into one. And he does just have to back out the corner where Daly has lost so much time in this race, where he makes up one position there. And, well, I think it's only a matter of time until he gets past Jamie Wilson. Out in the lead, gap down to, yeah, less than 1 second. 1/10 faster on that last lap was Noel, so the pace advantage is decreasing seemingly, but he is still catching ever so slightly. And well, down this straight, he's inevitably going to get that gap down to about 0.6 of a second.
Let's get the comparison for the last 5 laps between the two leaders And as you can see, in each of the last 5 laps, Calestani has lost over Knoll, 0.5, 0.1, 0.2, 0.1, and 0.1 again from lap 5 to lap 9. Let's see this lap around as we just quickly switch to Byron Daly because he's making a move on Wilson is able to do so. Response from Calestani is personal best, but also Knoll gets his personal best as well. And Wilson seems to be not happy with this and wants to get a position back.
Oh, he's very brave on the brakes there is Jamie Wilson. This could be a stunning move if he can pull it off, and yes, he does. That is some defense against Byron Daly, the clearly faster driver, but he's not letting that stop him. And Calistani, has he got an issue?
He's back.
Sorry. Oh,
And he's
he's
off
got
again.
connection issues, though.
Connection issues, the very famous Italian internet connection that I can vouch for. They are absolutely terrible as on the outside, Byron Daly. Can he keep the car on the track? He can, but I think that Wilson will have the inside, but still, great move by Daly, and he gets the position, and here comes Roccatello.
Roccatello might be able to get the pair of them down here because he's got a tremendous toe, and now he's going to go through. I don't know if there's an issue or whether maybe he's using the DRS. I'm not quite sure. Roccatello goes back into position, and it's all changed in this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Roccatelli up into the top 4. That's his highest position he's held so far in this race after starting 5th. And now, after gaining 4th position a lap ago, almost going back down into 6th there, was Daly. I still think he's going to be able to pull this move off and eventually pull away from these guys, but they're putting up a strong resistance as Wilson comes up from absolutely nowhere.
Yes, you know we don't play favorites, but being in contact with Alessandro throughout the week, I know how hard he trains. It's nice to see him battle it out with Daly and Wilson as Daly tries to put some pressure on the Italian driver who goes just a bit wide, then he locks the brakes. This could be a much better exit for the American driver as they go side by side into the backstretch.
Nothing between them down the straights. Maybe just losing out there is Daly. Maybe just lifting off so he can get back into the slipstream. Now Roccatello not defending into the chicane. And this might be quite simple for Daly to make the move. No, he's not quite late enough on the brakes. They're going to be side by side through the second part. Maybe even side by side through the penultimate corner. Nowhere for Wilson to go in the background. And now it's off goes Roccatello. It was a stubborn defense, but in the end it has ended. He should stay in 6th place at least. But unfortunately, that 3-way battle comes to an end.
We had a problem for Dave Cadmore. 2 problems, to be precise. This is the first one. I think where this is, where this is ending. Yes, that dreaded corner, and then he had another incident, which was the same one. Okay, so he's in the pits, I think, for repairs because he hit the barriers there. Let's go back to this battle in front. For the 4th spot with Daly, Wilson, and sadly Roccatello lost a bit of ground and now is, like you said, sitting in P6. Whilst at the front, Knoll is still gaining on Calestani lap by lap, but the gap is 1.3, stuck there more or less, even though this graphic, of course, will have to be, I think, we have to take it with a grain of salt because of the connection issues that have plagued Calestani for a couple of laps recently.
Yeah, he seems to have kind of benefited from it as here comes Wilson. Well, Daly's not having it all his own way. I don't think he picked up any damage earlier on, but well, he seems to just be struggling to make these mistakes because down the straights, Jamie Wilson seems to have a clear advantage. 4 minutes 40 to go. And the top 2 actually just getting a little bit closer. Another kind of moment of hope for Thomas Knoll. He's got the gap back down to 0.8 of a second as back comes Daly. And he moves ahead. Will he be able to move fully ahead going into this second part? No, he's going to have to take a wide line. Now he's got the better exit, but now he's going to have the slipstream and, well, the momentum later on in the straight. It'll be Jamie Wilson as he gets back into the toe, but trying to break it here is Byron Daly as they go alongside. Wilson knows if he can just get a decent run coming out of the chicane, he's going to have a good chance into turn 1, but he's going to try to get it done right now. Around the outside through part 1, and now they make contact. And Wilson just spinning himself, and now he's on his roof, and that's going to be the end of his race.
Oh, that's very, very unfortunate because these two were having a fantastic battle and a simple mistake from the driver here and nothing Daly could do, and sadly Jimmy Wilson is on his lead, and that is never good, of course. As we go back to the front, because if we look behind from Calestani's car, there you go, Thomas Noel, 0.6 of a second, never been closer throughout the race.
I think Kalstein just using the DRS this time. He's certainly extended that gap down that straight from about 0.6 of a second to 0.8. So just saving it until he absolutely needs it. We've already talked a little bit with the drivers. I think they all have their different strategies when it comes to that. But I think the majority of them kind of save it just to whenever they really need it. Question is, how many does Thomas Noel have remaining? And can he really put some pressure on the race leader at the end of this one? He's strong through this part of the lap, usually is Noel. On that last lap, he was only 1/10 of a second quicker. They got, what, 2 more laps, I think, after this one. As Noel just runs a little bit wide, using about a 10th of a second.
Yes, this will be a battle that will be, fought over, zero point 0.1 of a second, zero point 0.2 of a second throughout the final few minutes of the race. There's nothing between these two guys. Calestani is trying to nurse his car home. We don't know if he's got some damage or some hardware issues. It might be possible, Sam, that he hit a curb very, very hard. We thought it is in the opening. The reason why the organizers moved the race last week from Donington to Okayama was that the curbs in Donington proved to be too tough for this car, and so I don't know if there's another situation similar situation here where if you hit a curb too hard, especially I'm thinking about the left-hander after the S section, that might do some damage on the car and you start losing a bit of time per lap, because Karestani lost shocking amounts of times for 2-3 laps in a row, and now I think he's trying to nurse his car, but you can see now down to 0.5 of a second throughout this first section. When he needs, I think, some downforce is where he loses time in respect of Noel.
We've also got Roccatelli closing in on Daly. I think that's a bit of an inevitable one because Daly's got so much damage. And you 1.5 tenths, and yet just letting him do that. That was a wise thing to do from Daly. No point in fighting that one. He might still be able to hold off Max Berta. As once again down the straight, Calistani so strong. Pulling away to about 0.65 of a second. Over the curbs goes Noel, just a little bit hesitant on the throttle there. Losing him maybe 0.5 tenth, I'm not quite sure. Every single 100th of a second counts right now. Because, well, he's had to be on the back foot for the entire race. Lost out on that second position early on behind Daly. Gave him back that second position with a mistake. But after that, Noel had to close the gap from about 2.5 seconds, maybe even 3 seconds, to what it is now, 0.5 second. He is still closing, but it's still only by about a tenth per lap. But, well, down to 0.4 of a second now.
Yes, as the white flag is in the air, so final chance for Thomas Noel is as close as he's ever been throughout the race. He needs a perfect exit out of here, but like you said earlier, Karestani has been super strong in the straight. If he has a DRS left, Noel has to use it. See the gap, 0.3 of a second going down quickly. Will he go down quickly enough?
Here we go. Last chance for Thomas Noel. Will he risk it? He's right on the tail of his rival. He's just not close enough. I think he's going to be about 1 lap short in the end, because Matteo Calistani is going to approach the line here and take his first race victory of the season. Well done to Matteo Calistani. It's been a long time coming, and he takes crucial points out of Martin van Loosenol's championship lead. Thomas Noel in second place. Didn't talk too much about Scott Newton. Of course, it went from 9th to 3rd. Undoubtedly, if he hadn't have messed up qualifying, I think he messed it up at least. I don't think he deliberately started that far down. He could have certainly won that race, but still will be looking strong. For the reverse grid coming up for you, 40 minutes in length, of course. Alessandro Roccatelli, this is going to be his best result of the season. Really has improved a lot in this car. and picks up the pieces and puts it into a 4th position. Well done to Alessandro. Byron Daly, decent 5th place in the end after 2 very near to retirement instants. And yeah, Max Bertz will be in 6th. So yeah, I'll just basically repeat that. Going through the standings here, Matteo Calastani wins by 3/10 of a second ahead of Thomas Knoll. Scott Newton in 3rd, Alessandro Roccatello, of course, his best result of the season in 4th. Byron Daly in 5th, Massimo Berta in 6th, and then the retirees were Wilson and Cudmore. Chin, unfortunately, I think had connection issues. He couldn't take the grid. Hopefully, we'll see him back for the next one. Yeah, I guess we can move straight on to the reverse grid market because we like spinning the reverse grid. The most it can be, or the smallest it can be, is 10, and we got 9 drives up there, so it's inevitable how it's going to turn out. But you know, it's quite satisfying.
Integrity is important, and we will follow the protocol as stated by the rulebook. Spare a thought for Joshua Chin. I know why did he have connection issues because he just hopped on board with my team for the GT Pro Series, and being an Italian team, the Italian internet course struck with him. So apologies for that. Hopefully, he can get it sorted for race 2. Speaking of the reverse wheel, should be on your screen right now. Here we go. Let's roll it. And of course, Sam is 20, the maximum possible. So,
Well,
well,
who will be on pole position? Well, hopefully Josh Chin will be able to join us back again. So hopefully he'll be on pole position. David Cudmore will be starting far up, and yeah, a full reverse basically of the grid there. I have been given the responsibility to actually do the reverse grid, so I am terrified.
hopefully you
So
do a
hope
better job than what I did, 1 month ago.
I,
Sorry, 2 weeks ago. Where
you
I,
didn't do too much wrong though, did you?
yeah.
Oh, you
But
had the fast repairs. That was
yes, I
your
had I
mistake,
had
wasn't it?
I
But
had
we
two
didn't
fast
tell the
repairs.
drivers, so that
Exactly.
was
That
fine.
was the
Yeah,
master stroke.
yeah.
Don't not tell the drivers. Tell David Street, but don't tell the drivers.
Yeah, of course, always the good life lesson. If you make a mistake, don't tell anyone, and they might not notice. We'll be back in hopefully 20 to 25 minutes time for the race 2 of the afternoon here in round 7 of the Apex Racing League's Renault 3.5 Championship.
coming for a splash. Three, two, one, now. All clear. Punch it. Great job. You did really well.
Can Nikolai Bogotayev hold on to that lead? It's Gary Croft alongside him on the front row. And away we go here at Phillip Island for race 2 of the evening. And it's an awesome start. Who is that? Gary Croft is in the lead of the race currently. Brenton O'Brien in second place. Damon Gansak got an awesome start. It's a poor start for Nikolai Bogotayev though. And so round turn 1. It's all very, very close between those top 3. Jamie McKnight trying to get involved as well. He's moved up into 4th place. It's an awful start for Bogotayev.
Oh, Johnny Brandon, where is he going?
Whoa! And it's the championship leader, Johnny Brandon, off the circuit. He's dropped right to the rear of the field, just further up. That's Foggy going side by side with someone. It's also side by side potentially for second position. Damon Gantar trying to get the move. Jamie McKnight's all over the place, and they could be 3 wide. And there's a car on the grass somehow not making contact with the Jazz going through the hairpin. It's a crazy start. Jamie McKnight has moved up into second position now, second in the championship, and whilst his main championship rival is in the grass, he's made an awesome start. Foggy just leads.
Oh, there's crash, there's a big crash.
Oh dear, the leading
Croft
two.
and McKnight.
It's Croft and McKnight. What an incredible start to this race. And they are both in the grass. And Jake McKnight, just as it looked like he could make up a whole heap of points on Johnny Brandon, just made a bit of contact, avoidable from both. And it leaves Brenton O'Brien in the lead of this race.
They didn't hold off with their, the gloves were off because they were beating and banging, as Bingham also has got some trouble. He's dropping fast, and now we have a 3-way.
Cracknell in the lead.
Cracknell is in the lead, and look at that, because Foggy still hasn't gone around O'Brien there, and Gantar is in 4th, Mass is in 5th place. What a fantastic start. It's all happening.
What a lap from Michael Cracknell. He's gone from 4th to 1st, and Foggy is nearly off the circuit. He might still pull off the move though. This would be incredible. Trying to push him off, and there's more contact. And O'Brien is off the circuit. He's going to get a slowdown, and this could be really costly for him and Foggy, because round the outside goes Toman Ganser, surely to take the second position in this race. Side by side through the final corner, and across the start-finish line they go. This is an incredible first opening couple of laps. It does mean that Michael Cracknell has got a 2-second lead, but they're side by side. Brenton O'Brien versus Damon Gantar. Brenton O'Brien started in 3rd position. He had an awesome start, but Gantar is trying to get the move done. He can't get it done. He can get it done. O'Brien down into 3rd position as we see more cars off in the background. I think that's Bogotayev.
I think it's Jackson, and we see, oh no, crash again in the back.
Car.
Whiting and Brandon.
Oh, wow. Oh, there's still changes for position in second position, by the way. We should just cut to this, I think, quickly. O'Brien has got back, and Foggy's trying to get the move as well. So O'Brien, is in second position. He's somehow caught back up to Gantar, and Gantar's lost another position here to Foggy, has he? Yes, he has. So Gantar, from a really strong second position, he's lost it again. Yeah, Jackson trying to get that move currently on Alex Mass in 5th position.
Jackson is around. Oh, he saved it maybe, yes, but he's losing a lot of time.
Brian is giving Michael Cracknell a huge helping hand for potentially his first race victory of this season, because he is now 4 seconds out in the lead. Back comes Nico Foggy though. Down the inside, he's going to have the outside for the next one. They're going to be so deep on the brakes here. And Foggy is all the way round. Can he just push him off ever so slightly? But it's no Brian, because Foggy will have the inside for the next corner if he can't do so. And Foggy is going to have the inside for the next corner. And Foggy is up into second position now.
Oh, Klusterman, Gantar. Gantar is around. Klusterman went into the grass, lost a couple of positions. No damage for him, but Gantar lost. He's down to P15. Man, Sam, the action is non-stop in this second race. We need a split screen, absolutely.
Yeah, a few screens, don't we? That was, whose fault was that? Oh, Gantar just spun ahead of policeman, to be fair. and wasn't a whole lot he could do. It does mean that Alex Mas, remember, in his first ever feature race is running in P4. What a performance this is.
Big damage from Tony.
What's happened to him again?
I think he got some damage from that contact there. Oh, his teammate pushes him out. Oh, man. Wow, it's all happening. We are only 6 laps in, and we see now Mas in 3rd place on the inside of the first corner. Fantastic move by Mason O'Brien.
Oh, Warming's got ahead of O'Brien, sorry.
Yeah, O'Brien, I think he's in the grass because his name is flashing in red.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, he's spun around.
Oh, that's so annoying for Brenton O'Brien. Has Warmingham gone and hit him here? I wonder if he has. Oh, was there a little bit of a tap there? I'm not quite sure. If there was, then it was very innocent there from Richard Warming.
So yeah, I mean, halfway through the race, 16 of 32, I think if they are changing tires, this is the moment that they have to stop. As we see, Warmingham throwing his car, and Mas is around, I think.
Oh no, that's so disappointing for Alex Matty. He hasn't lost any positions though. Johnny Brandon, yeah, just behind. Oh, and actually, Warmingham letting him back past, and he's going to let past his teammate.
He has damage.
Oh, that's clumsy from Richard Warmingham.
I think he has damage.
Yeah.
Onboard view of the crash. Thank you, Sam Kumo, behind the cameras. Yeah, front contact, definitely. So he didn't hit with his. No, he was just waiting for his opponent. Yeah, that was a clumsy mistake, Sam. You are completely right.
Yeah, and you'll see, just he gets on the power on the grass.
It would be just a small thing, but I think if Ma stays out, he will lead his first lap. No, he's in, so no. I'm wrong even in the little things. Oh, he's around! No, this was on you, Sam. I'm sorry. You just talked about it.
Damien Gansard trying to get the move here on, trying to defend. No, sorry, trying to get the move on Alex Mas. Sorry about that. And yeah, Gansard down the inside, Mas around the outside, almost off the circuit. And can he possibly get the car stopped? Yes, he can. A little bit sideways on the apex. Gansard there, as we've seen so many times this race, if you can just carry the speed around that hairpin, you get a nice little run into this one. And as he goes down the inside Doman, he might just be able to pull ahead. No, he won't be able to. Alex Mas is sticking in there. What a brilliant debut performance this is from him. Apart from a little bit of spin on the pit entry, he has been absolutely superb. And Doman Gansard, I sometimes doubt his race car. Boy, was that good, Marco. He is up into 7th position.
I mean, he would like to get another position that would benefit, and of course, McKnight being one of the championship contenders, would be nice to put some points on him as well. Oh, Tony on the outside drifting wildly. That was a bit too much, I think, and this will give a little bit of respite for McKnight in order to catch his breath for a bit and maybe fend off other lunges from Kusterman later in the race.
And Gansard's got past O'Brien. Brilliant move there from Doman Gansard. I didn't see it, but I assume this is quite a nice move. It looks this way, leading up to it, on the outside, going into turn 1. Oh, that was a good move. Well done, Doman Gansard. And he's moved up into 6th position. Yeah, here comes Michael Cracknell. He's going to take his first race victory in this series. And he's going to bring himself right back into championship contention. Michael Cracknell. Welcome back to Road Atlanta and the Apex Racing League's Renault 3.5 Championship, broadcast live by Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Marco Barbnell. We are just getting set for race 2 of the afternoon. And Marco, race 1 was really good. We had a couple of three-way battles, 1st, 2nd and 3rd battling out for the lead, and then 4th, 5th and 6th also having a good battle. Of course, a reverse grid in this one, I think it's going to be more of the same.
I agree. Longer race, of course, 40 minutes. So, like we said at the top of the broadcast, drivers really need to look after their tires. So with the small grid that we have today, the reverse doesn't play a big part, I think, uh, especially with the double distance. But those drivers need to get to the front, and to do that, they need to avoid, being too impatient and need to avoid contacts. And we see many times, especially the first few laps around this track, can be absolutely tricky. And speaking of first few laps, I think we can get a glimpse of how these drivers will line up on the starting grid for race 2, Sam.
Yes, and it's David Cudmore starting on pole position. Jamie Wilson alongside him. Massimo Berta starts in third. And then behind that is Brian Daly, Alessandro Roccatello, Scott Newton, Thomas Knoll. And of course, race 1 winner, Matteo Calastani, will start in 8th place. We're just waiting for Cudmore to get on the grid. He's got 20 seconds to do so. And the Solar Flare Racing driver was Scuderia Brian Daly is Scuderia Carolina. Of course,
Yes,
my bad. Cudmore is now onto the grid. It'll be the pole sitter here. Race 2 of round 7. And away we go. And it's not a good start for Cudmore. He's going to be under pressure from Wilson going into turn 1. Fantastic start from Daly. He's now on the inside, and he might fancy his chances at second position. Him and Wilson had a great battle in race 1. Wilson just about losing up there. Newton with a little bit of a poor start. As we see side by side there, Calastani up into 3rd place already from 8th on the grid, and that could be a race decisive moment as Knoll tries to get past Wilson. That was a very ambitious move there, but he just stays behind for now, and now we've got contact just
Scott Newton
behind,
now.
and that is Scott Newton. The driver who starts in 9th, drove so well in race 1, was one of the favourites for this race too, and he's right to the rear of the field. Byron Daly is now in the race lead after making a mistake in race 1, and he's pulling away from the rest of the field now. Calastani trying to follow him through. Cudmore going alongside him now. Will try to give the slipstream, will Byron Daly, to David Cudmore. He doesn't want Calastani to get too close to him, but already Calastani is making massive amounts of time on him, and he might even have a chance to go from 3rd to 1st into the chicane, but he's not close enough, and Daly will end the first lap in the race lead.
Brave move there from Calastani in the first few corners. That could be the difference, like you said, Sam. Absolutely, as you see, Cudmore very slow coming up to the final corner, with many drivers getting by him. That is Thomas Knoll, I think Jamie Wilson as well. Cudmore very slow, super slow in fact, as we have just a little bit of a few seconds of relative peace. We can see what happened with Scott Newton there just at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, I think it was Berta making contact from the rear. Yeah, very light to be fair. I certainly wasn't, of course, deliberate from Berta whatsoever. But it's really affecting Newton, the driver, who, in my commentary experience at least, is mind-bogglingly unlucky. He will win the lottery one day, I have no doubt. But today, I don't think that's going to be his day. Byron Daly under big pressure. Calastani is going to be taking the lead here unless Daly can somehow respond. He's down the inside. Calastani with a lot of speed there. Didn't give too much space for his opponent. And you can see how he's already streaked away. And Calastani won race 1. He's looking very good for race 2 now.
Good news for Scott Newton. I think that his car doesn't seem to be damaged because, like you said, that was a very light tap. So he could potentially put on a show for us. He's 5 seconds away from Roccatello in P7. He's got 37 minutes to make up some ground. So I think he will put on a show for us and maybe gain some positions back, as I hear Knoll spinning around and losing some precious ground down to P7 behind everyone but Scott Newton. That was a costly mistake.
Well, I don't think these first few laps could have got any better for Matteo Calastani's biggest challenges. Probably Newton and Knoll with issues with spins. Here was Knoll going through this part of the circuit, flat out, of course, through here as he lost it on the brakes, on the exits. It's kind of on the entry, isn't it? Just getting on the curb, unsettling the car. It's pretty well not to have a full spin, but you can see how it's lost him 4 positions straight away.
Exactly, as we go back to the front, Roccatello. Now look at the back, Knoll and Cudmore side by side for P6.
just overtaken him once. He's overtaken him twice. Thomas
Look
Knoll
at that.
up into 6th place.
Who just got the fastest lap of the race? It's Scott Newton, 1 minute and 7, and he's already caught up to the back of the grid. Dave Cadmore is right in front of him together with Thomas Knoll, so I think that we can get our popcorns ready because Scott will try to make as many moves as possible.
Oh no, that's
No,
horrendous.
no.
Okay. Wow.
Hopefully he didn't hit anything. Let's get very quickly a replay of that from his onboard. Sorry, Scott. Absolutely.
Wow. You witch. You witch.
Ah, no, he hit very hard in the
dear.
front wing is damaged. I will hear from Scott, I think, after the race.
Oh, get on your broom with your cat and fly away, honestly. Ugh. Max Bertzer losing out to Alessandro Roccatelli. Of course, Bertzer doing pretty well after, that first contact with Newton. But of course, he is under pressure now from Knoll, who is extremely quick in privateer. By the way, top 2 in the race separated by 1 second, but we'll pay attention to Thomas Knoll. He's looking to the inside. There's not really any chance that I moved there. I don't know what Knoll was trying. Maybe trying to scare his opponent off the circuit, but it's lost him quite a bit of time. Now half a second off the P5 driver.
Taking a look at the pits, Scott Newton is in, changing his front wing. Long stop for him. He's been on the jacks for almost 20 seconds now.
He hasn't disconnected from the session yet, so hopefully he will be returning back on the grid. Of course, will score points as long as he completes to 80% race distance, I believe. So,
Yeah,
hopefully he'll get back out there.
Yeah, but I think this is more than the front wing, Sam, because now he has lost 1 lap. He's still in his pit box more than 50 seconds now, so who knows, maybe since he's from Australia, we didn't get the full extent of the impact he had with the wall, because we saw him hit with the front wing, but maybe that was a bigger hit, maybe with the suspensions front right, I think. Yeah, still there, 1 minute and seconds. Yeah, I think some bigger problems, unfortunately, for Scott Newton, and is the first casualty of this race too.
David Cudmore versus Max Bertzer. This for 6th and 7th positions. We are down to 7 drivers now on the circuit. And at the moment, it's Cudmore just about moving ahead. Now Bertzer trying to respond, going into the chicane. And Bertzer with a much better line there as Cudmore almost spins. It got on the brakes though, prevented himself from having a full spin. And we'll get underway back nice and quickly. Roccatelli under pressure from Knoll. After that mistake earlier on from Knight, may have given him no chance at the race win. But he can still get a podium, no doubt about it. And he is up into 4th place now, only 2 seconds to catch up to Jamie Wilson.
Calestani pulling away from Daly at the front. We are seeing a lot of great passing maneuvers from these guys, especially those trying to get back to the front. You have to be very brave to do a move with this car. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Sorry, guys, my English has been absolutely shocking today. But as an excuse, I've been watching the Daytona 24 hours basically since last night, since after the Euro V8 broadcast. So spare a thought for me. It's very easy to lose this car. So seeing these drivers throw the car basically into the corners and being able to keep it not only on the black stuff but completing the pass is absolutely amazing. I think that they deserve some credit, especially beaming sunshine onto the racetrack, very few clouds in the sky. And let me tell you something, Sam, I absolutely have no idea why this league isn't joined by more drivers. Why more drivers are not joining the race, because we have 40 drivers, I believe, signed up. drivers who paid actual money to race, and I think they are missing on the fun. I will not, count their money like we say in Italy, because I respect them. They do whatever they want, as Roccatello is around there in the back. But I mean, you paid, you are missing on the fun. That is what I can say. With only a few cars on the track, we are having some fantastic battles, both in this race and in race one.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As Thomas Knoll just moves up into third place. And of course, if you do feel like joining this league, and well, judging by this racing, why wouldn't you? Certainly do get in contact. I don't actually know where you sign up. I think there's a forum post in the Renault 3.5 league, or you can just message us
Exactly.
on our Facebook page, and or let us know on the YouTube chat certainly, and we can get you
Ah,
in contact with the organisers.
yeah, and remember, since we are halfway through the season, half discount on the 50% discount on the 20 dollars or pounds sign up price. You only go 10. Again, dollars or pounds. I don't remember sadly. But
I
still,
think it's dollars.
you get 50% off. So I think it's a great deal.
Yes,
And you
absolutely. And of
get
course,
to
we
be
will.
on Apex Racing TV, which is of course the big plus.
Well, when you're commentating, I don't think I'd want to be. I don't think I've ever had. I don't think I've ever been driving in a race where you've been commentating. Otherwise, I would have been in a hedge or something. I'm sure there's something nice about me. As Noel makes that move, and well, these two, what a fight these two have had. Wilson just doesn't know when to give up, to be honest. And well, Willie tried to have a move into turn one. He's so much quicker down the straight, seemingly, but this time he's not going to be close enough. 0.2 of a second behind. I wouldn't say this one's over because Noel is pretty much all over the place currently. Now, will the Dutchman? Where is Noel from?
Austria.
Austria. Okay, that makes sense for his livery then, doesn't it? The classic red and white of the Austrian flag. I wanted him to be Austrian because that's pretty cool.
I
But there
think
he
his
is.
car is blue. Like as per usual, Sam, I might be do some commentators courses here and there, but you always forget to open trading paints, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, the one that I'm looking at is red and white, so I'm going to not open trading paints because it helps me remember what his nationality is. Jamie Wilson, the Brit, I believe,
Yes.
despite his white car.
Mhm. Which is white and aqua, close enough, I'd say. Of course, Team Chimera. I don't know if you know, but Chimera is a mythical animal, half snake and half lion, and is a metaphor, especially in the Italian language. You use it as a metaphor for something that you search for but you cannot achieve. And at the moment, is third place because Wilson is closer and closer to Knoll. These two are exchanging positions since the beginning of the race, but he doesn't seem to be able to get as close as he would like to be to try and make the move for the podium.
You could almost rename the team to Chimera, because he's trying a lot. That was very poor. Apology. Of course, some good puns, like our Facebook page, because some good worse and comment puns from the other day in the World GT Championship. Certainly tune in on that. Actually, that's tomorrow. I think that'll be on our Facebook page and YouTube channel as well.
No, iRacing Esports Network for the race tomorrow,
No, I think it was broadcasted on both. I think last time. I'm not sure.
it gets available on our page after the race,
Oh,
on
okay.
our YouTube page. It's simulcast on Facebook and the iRacing Esports, or our Facebook and on iRacing Esports Network in live, and also only on the YouTube page, a YouTube exclusive, the MX5 Monday Cup, same time as the World GT. So you can have, if you have two monitors, so you open both streams and you enjoy some great racing, GT cars and more slower but very very nice, Cup MX5 Cup cars, which are always fun for 3 races tomorrow. So it's always nice with me, Ryan Walker, and Tyler Vickery. So you have choices. I mean, if you want to have some Monday night of racing, you have plenty of options.
Yes, absolutely.
I
Of
don't
course,
remember
that'll
the
be.
track.
Oh, as we
Oh!
see contact. Oh dear. Well, you felt as though it was going to happen. Happened in race 1. And, well, Wilson and Noel come together once again at that chicane. And it's going to cost them both. I hope they haven't got too much damage.
And trying
Sanjay
to...
Roccatelli now getting involved.
Yeah, I think that... Yes, allora, sorry.
Oh,
Wilson
dear.
has got front wing damage. That's for sure. I don't know about Noel. Let's see his pace. I think that Wilson needs to pit. That front wing is absolutely bent. But sometimes we see, damage pop back up and return to normal status. But that was quite a big hit, and I think that Null as well has got some problems somewhere. We'll get a replay as soon as possible, as Wilson is very, 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 very slow. Everyone is going past him now. Berta and Cadmore, and is now last of the running cars. As we go back to Thomas Knoll, because I think that Alessandro Roccatello is getting closer and closer, and here is the move for the podium spot. So let's go back to that crash, I think, and see what happened.
Oh, it's Noel who lost it then, got on the brakes, and, well, no time for Wilson to react. So it does certainly seem as though Wilson was the one who got worse off. Oh, wow, he's got a lot of steering damage, hasn't he? I didn't realise quite how much he had.
And I think some side pod damage maybe for Noel there, as we had a pass, I think. No, yeah, Cadmore is having some trouble into the first corner. That's a big hit for him. And so, just like every week, we seem to have a bigger attrition rate in race 2, as I think this is the end of the road for David Cadmore. Let's see what happened there.
Of course, the pole sitter in the number 1 car. Did he go on that curb? No, he's missed the curb. Oh,
That
wow,
is
that's a
weird.
massive one.
I don't think he misjudged the corner. Maybe some hardware issues, because it's almost like he didn't brake. You can hear
Yeah,
the
that's a good point.
throttle was down almost basically before, just a bit before he went into the grass. So that's very, very strange.
Yeah, I don't think there was any braking there. So I think that was probably his issue, a brake failure. Of course, not quite as bad in sim racing as it is in real life, but makes a similar result to your end result. So, only 5 drivers, I think, left running cleanly, and even Thomas Knoll, I think, has got quite a few issues. Top 2, though, have not got a scratch on their cars. Ted Carslane still pulling away from Byron Daly. Gap just edging out that last lap. Carslane was 0.6 of a second faster. The gap now up to 5 seconds between the two of them. And of course, a minute back is Thomas Knoll. Could maybe catch up to Max Berta if he hasn't got too much damage, but certainly not the race 2 result he wanted.
Yes, of course, when we talk about brake problems, we are talking about hardware issues, because iRacing does not simulate that, despite what one of my opponents said many, many years ago when I got started in iRacing, at the La Source hairpin at Spa in the Skip Barber. This guy came back from like 2.5 seconds back and crashed into me at the hairpin, and he said, "Sorry, you killed my brakes when we made contact earlier," which is, like, not possible. And but apparently the brake failure also made his steering wheel point right at the back of my Skippy when when I was making the corner. So that seemed a bit fishy. But I was young and I didn't do any kind of protest. But we are talking about those dreaded hardware issues, which are never nice. But in a way, they make up for the the absence of random failures, which are of course not implemented, which is right, I think, because it's not it's not nice to lose a race because of luck. So we don't have that, but we have the hardware disconnections. We heard last night in the Euro V8s, Tony Klusterman was left without audio. iRacing doesn't like when you unplug accidentally your headset, and if you even if you plug it back in, you are left with no audio until you go into the menu and physically reset the correct device. And so those little things that happen that make it a little bit more punishing, because yeah, you can destroy the engine if you keep shifting at not ideal points, like we see many times in the MX-5s, for example. So yeah, this is sadly we've seen many times in this series, especially drivers being caught off guard by problems with their hardware.
Yeah, of course. Kind of on that topic, though, well, of course, the new damage model coming out could be in just a month's time,
Really?
potentially. Hopefully, it will be. But
Are you sure?
I doubt. Well, I guess it needs to be rolled out for all the other cars, doesn't it? So,
I'm a bit
couple.
skeptical because usually, and even if it is an inside joke, iRacing like to put soon at the end of the videos when they present new features. And the new damage model video didn't even have a soon at the end of it.
Yeah.
So I think I mean, I remember the first videos of day-night transitions came out 1.5 years ago, and they had soon at the end. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, when the Porsche GT Cup car came out, they announced it on the 1st of January, just as midnight came through in the Central European time, by the way, and they immediately said coming the date because it was imminently released. So iRacing seems to have like 3 different announcements: exact date, soon, and hopefully it comes out. And I think that the new damage model is such a big, something big, because not only they have to do all of the cars from scratch in a crash-wise, the way they can disassemble themselves, but also in the video they talk about basically putting new meshes on the tracks, on the walls, to simulate hits with the wall and something like that. So that will take a lot of time, as Max Berta is in the pits. I have no idea why, as yeah, he's seems to have front wing damage from my perspective.
Yes, I'm seeing a little bit there, but I'm surprised he is pitting. Loses that position to Thomas Knoll up into 4th. Still half a minute, though, behind Alessandro Locatelli. But on my point of the damage model, of course, when we've got in Le Mans, I'm aware that I think the GTs changed their brake calibers midway through the race. So they usually change them once across the race. And certainly that would be something very good to implement. So it's not random failures as such, but just wear and tear failures. Where if you really push it too far, then that's an issue. And of course, maybe the engine as well. If you start revving it up too much, overheating it, particularly in the slipstream, it's quite an important element to NASCAR and IndyCar and all those oval
No, in NASCAR
series. So
it's there. I know
okay.
I know it for experience. Don't stay too much time behind a car on the super speedways. Marco gives you this tip. Um, I, something I would really like to have, especially I think part of the new damage model idea is also that, let's say, for example, the prototype cars, no, you hit the wall with the front or the rear end and you get repaired in the pits, but the bodywork remains in that wonky state with bent carbon fiber, looks awful, and it's never as good as it was before. Whereas in real life, like I said, especially with the prototypes, they just take away the part and put the entire front end of the P1, P2 cars. They put it back on a new one. So maybe you lose 2-3 minutes in the pits, but then you have a car who if you didn't have damage, if you didn't do any kind of damage to the suspensions, to the wheels, or to the radiator, all the other part, basically the car is as good as new. Yeah, yes, you might have lost three minutes in the pits or something like that, but in a 10-hour, 12-hour, 24-hour race, you can make up for it, and you don't have to deal with a car that goes sideways on the straights, or that you have to drive. Once we had to do a 24-hour of Daytona, me and my teammates were we had basically for 15 hours the car pointing slightly to the left, and it was so annoying because it was done to a really minor contact, as Calestani goes for a little bit of a ride in the gravel, doesn't lose too much time. I think he gets a slowdown. Yes, because look at the gap falling down to 5.7 seconds. It was around 8 seconds before that mistake. I think he's still doing the slowdown. And now he's back to full throttle, I think. But he lost a lot of time. 5 seconds now is the gap between P1 and P2.
Yeah, you're absolutely right though about the repairs. It's so frustrating when you pick up some damage in the first couple of hours in a 24-hour race, and then of course it affects you for the entire race afterwards. And of course, if anything, just for morale, just giving up, 5 minutes right there and then just to get a completely fresh car, rather than losing even just quarters of a second every lap from that point onwards, would certainly be a useful option. But it'll be coming
You
at
know,
some point.
and Daly gets his fastest lap of the race in the lap where Calestani had his problem. He gained 1.8 seconds in this lap. Something that is really annoying and that happens a lot on the oval side, especially with NASCAR. You get, let's say it's one of the NASCAR racing series, the long races that you do a couple of times per week, and you get damage. You blow the engine, for example. No, in like 3 years ago, they put in a build for endurance racing, for longer races. They implemented the maximum, like the mega long pit stop, like 35-minute pit stop, where they change your engine. So you sit in the pits for 35 minutes. They change your engine. You do all the optionals. You don't expect your car to work as good as it was before, because if you blow the engine in a NASCAR race car, unless you misshift, it's because you had a pretty big hit with the front end of the car, no? But you say you cruise around, you do some laps, you try to gain positions, to the guys that had bigger crashes and disconnected, and you can't believe how many times I did that. I come out of the pits, and 2 laps later, after waiting 35 minutes in the pits, boom, the engine explodes again. So, which doesn't make any sense, of course, no? Because I just spent 35 minutes in the pits doing repairs and getting a new engine in the car, so it shouldn't explode. So hopefully, I'm waiting for this. Of course, it's never ideal to crash your car, etc. And also because I think that the big pileups will have an even more spectacular, visual effect to them, with parts flying everywhere. And also, we might see some more realistic wrecks, because you know that in iRacing the cars don't seem to absorb as much damage as they do and energy as they do in real life. And you see those wrecks, especially on the oval side in iRacing, look so much more violent than real life crashes, because these cars don't give out anything. They are, let's say, blocks of stone, and the cars get thrown around everywhere.
Yeah, I think in the single seaters as well, that's going to be where the major improvement is made, where the front wings accurately fall off. I don't think there's, at least I'm not aware of a game which, or a simulator which accurately represents that. So that will be very good as well. It's going to be beneficial for everyone. It's going to be really improving every element of the game. And of course, whilst it does take a while, you'd expect them not to replace it, not to make major changes to it for another 10 years, maybe even 15 years potentially. You think they haven't made a massive overhaul, I believe, since the start of iRacing, just kind of minor changes. And that was, some 11 years ago, even before that, of course, the beta testing. So, this is going to be a big change, and it's certainly worth, making the most of it. And of course, also the new tire model as well. Hopefully, that could be in
That
5 weeks'
could
time. We
be,
really don't
yes.
know about that. But that's quite optimistic, I must say. 5 weeks away. But then
Hmm.
Silverstone, again, that could be 5 weeks away. Then the brand new Silverstone.
You
That's
know,
probably a little bit ambitious as well. But keeping my hopes up high. AI as well. A lot of exciting things coming
yes.
to our racing soon.
We had a very big build this time around, and it's. I think it's. I tell you my conspiracy theory is that AI is ready, but they are waiting for because they didn't want to put too much stuff into this big build that we just have had in December. So I think the AI is the next big thing coming, and I think the new tire model is coming as well, Sam. Because if you remember, it was a possibility for the June build in 2018. Then maybe in September, then probably in December. So I think that it could be the good the this time it could be finally released in the March build. I think is yeah, it's March. Not a lot of only 5 weeks away. So time is really flying in this season. I'm quite surprised that we are already down to week 7 of the season.
Yes, and on Apex 18 TV, we've got a few series which kind of follow the seasons accurately. Of course, I'll be racing in the BSR Radical. That's 12 weeks long, so I'm constantly aware of when the end of the season is. I'm very anxious about Bathurst coming up for the last round of the championship.
What are we running in this week in the BSR series?
Suzuka.
As Berta
Should we-
is around before we get back to the backstretch. So yeah, nice racetrack, very technical track, and the BSR leagues basically follow the same track for the entire week. So Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, all 3 days, we will have races there. 2 nights with the MX5s, and then on Thursday we will have the Radical Championship. So hopefully you like Suzuka, because we are going to be there a lot this coming week. 3 cars on
I
the lead lap,
must.
Sam.
Yes, not great. Thomas Knoll's been slipping down. I think he's just cruising out there. To be honest, Vocatello's doing well though. We already spoke about him getting his best result of the season, a 4th in race 1. He's going to bet to that straight away, a 3rd, his first podium of the season, a privateer. Hopefully we'll see a new livery on that car at some point for Alessandro. And of course, yeah, going back to Suzuka. Of course, we had this series round Suzuka. I think that was quite a good round, if I recall correctly. It has gone up in my views. It used to not be particularly one of my favourites. I think it was because the AI was very difficult round Suzuka on F1 2002 by EA Sports. So I wasn't a massive fan of it, but certainly do appreciate how every single corner around that track is good. I don't think you can say that about really any other track in the entire world of motorsport. And yeah, of course, we'll be hosting the BSR Masters on Monday, BSR Masters on Tuesday, and of course, the BSR Radical Series as well on Thursday. So certainly worth tuning in for that.
Yeah, being a commentator really made me appreciate more some tracks that I really didn't like. For example, Interlagos and Donington Park, for example. I still don't like Snetterton, which I think is
Oh,
so nice in the
how dare you criticize my homeland?
200 track, fantastic. 300 track, boring and useless bunch of
Oh,
corners that really destroy the fun of the racetrack. The 200 layout is amazing.
it used to be amazing before they added the hairpin.
Yeah.
Oh dear. It used to be like a speed zone, that place. The speeds you could get up, super fast turn 1, relatively fast turn 2, approaching like insane speeds into the left right. I can't remember what it's called. And then, of course, the bomb hole as well, a lot of speed. And then the final kind of chicane and long corner was fantastic as well. They've taken a lot of that away, unfortunately. Wasn't really for safety issues either. It was just to kind of extend the circuit, bring it to a DTM. I think it was a Grade 2 circuit now. But yeah, very disappointing.
Yeah, I think it's the same that happened at Vallelunga, my local track. They added a straight and a parabolica-like corner, and this completely changed the best corner of the track, which was basically a left-hander going down the hill, coming around, basically a if you look, if you couldn't see the exit of that corner because there was like a mound, a little hill. So it was spectacular to see. I never had a chance to drive there, but when you were a spectator, you saw the cars coming at ludicrous speed. It was almost a jump basically. So, and now of course it's not there. The corner is still there, but now they approach it as a slow left-hander, sadly, so it has lost all this character. But now the track is a grade 1 track, used as test session for the LMP1 cars. The Pirelli usually comes for their secret tire tests, those tests where they give a team the tires, but they don't know which tires they are testing. So too bad, because yeah, I really missed that corner. It really was the best corner of one of the best corners in all of Italy, I might add. Calestani pushing hard 1:7.1, fastest lap of the race so far. 5 minutes left in race 2 of the day here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, the gap did go down to below 5 seconds. Back up to 6 now. And like you said, his personal best lap of the race, the first lap of the race, which is pretty incredible, considering that those tyres are aging quite a bit.
Daly is pushing out because he just had his fastest lap, personal best of the race, but Calestani is really on a roll today. He has been able to fend off attacks in race 1 where he maybe was damaged, and now in race 2 he was able to fend off the attacks at the beginning of the race and has been able to create this 5 seconds cushion over Daly, and he is cruising towards race victory. He would be the second driver able to sweep a race weekend. The first one, and many times he did this season, was Martin van Loosenhoord, which we are expecting to be back next time around. And next time around, Sam, we are going, if I'm not mistaken, to Interlagos, speak of the devil, and that was a track that always provides for some exciting races. It was exciting with the MP430, so I can imagine it will be even better with this car.
Yeah, that circuit kind of defies the laws of physics, for me at least, because I think I bang on about every time we go to Interlagos. I always make the point, it's incredibly difficult to overtake. It's so weird, you got long straights, you got corners where you think you could go around the outside. Yeah, if you just put your car on the inside and, break at a decent point, it's not really anything the opponent can do. It's a very unusual circuit, and that maybe could give a chance to a couple of drivers if they maybe get a good start or a good reverse grid. Then maybe we'll see a couple of surprises. Of course, we have seen we are going to see a new podium sitter, Sanjay Locatelli today. And of course, Scott Newton got his first podium of the season as well in race 1. Hopefully, more of that unpredictability coming up next week. Of course, that'll be round 8 of the championship. 5 more to go in the championship, with Martin van Loosenhoord, of course, missing this round. Is certainly opening up quite significantly. 2 minutes to go in this race. Of course, also what we've got, Marco, coming up on Saturday is the Bathurst 90-minute preparation race for the 12 hours of Bathurst in in a fortnight's time, I guess. Of course, you may well be taking parts in that one, because we've got a handful of GT3 places remaining, about 4 GT3 places remaining, about 8 Porsche places remaining. So if you feel like turning up, certainly do check out our Facebook page, and it'll be the pinned post on our Facebook page. And well, that should be a lot of good fun. Of course, accelerated time transitions as well, Marco. And well, we could see quite a chaotic event, I think.
I will be there either as dishing out commentators' curses in the booth or giving work to the track marshals on the track. Either of those two, I will surely be there because it's going to be super fun. Like I told you yesterday in private, I think those couple of laps maybe that we get at the start of the race in complete darkness will be very scary because Bathurst is one of those tracks that is not optimized for night racing, as Calistani is losing a lot of time. Is he out of fuel?
I wonder if he doesn't want to do an extra lap, but he's going to have to do an extra lap. What is
No, he's losing
Calistani
time.
doing
He's
here?
losing time. Let's see if he starts pushing
1.8
again.
seconds.
Or maybe you are right. Let's see. No, he's going to do another lap.
He's going to have to do another lap, whether he wanted to do another lap or not. Now, has he got full power? After cruising for 39 minutes and 50 seconds, these last 10 seconds and one lap are turning into a bit of a nightmare right now for Matteo Calistani, because he's only got a 9/10 of a second lead. Has he got enough? He's really cruising around there right now, and the gap is down to just 0.6 of a second. Byron Daly for Scuderia Carolina, the driver he hasn't taken, did take a race victory at Okayama 1 week ago. And it's looking good for him to take his second as he closes right in on the Italian. We've just got 4 more corners to go here. Has Calistani now got full power? I'm not quite sure. 0.3 of a second, quarter of a second, 0.2 of a second, 1.5 of a second. Now, he might even pull alongside.
No!
Daly is in the wall. What on earth
Unbelievable.
happened there? Calistani's going to surely win this race.
Or maybe
Across the
not.
grass he goes.
Does
I
he
don't
have
know
enough
what he's
enough speed?
just spluttering across the line. He didn't have to do that much, did Byron Daly. Matteo Calistani crosses the line to win his second race of the season. Byron Daly is somehow going to finish in second place, but a win was there on the table. Incredible scenes there.
It remains to be seen if Calistani got a slowdown there and if he was able to do the slowdown before crossing the start finish line. We will know as soon as Roccatello gets past the final corner. I
I
think
think Noel as well.
Noll has
crossed
already
the
went through. So we are just waiting for Roccatello. We'll see. I think he was going so slow, so I think the slowdown has been done in the whilst he was coughing across the start finish line. Roccatello comes, and that will be the race. Yes, I think that we can confirm that Calistani won. But before showing you the final results, let's go back to that contact there, because that was absolutely crazy.
Of course, Calistani, if he'd lost it here, now whose fault is this one? Daly getting closer. Oh, wow! He was desperate not to hit his rival
Did he
there.
have the DRS open? Because I think if he had the DRS
Oh, that's a
open,
good point.
he might not have had enough downforce, and the moment he turned the wheel maybe too hard, he went around. Let's get a replay of that from Calistani's perspective. Maybe. Or maybe not. Okay.
I don't think he did have the DRS open, not from what I could see at least.
Maybe he got a bit scared by the fact that Calistani slowed down, because I think maybe that was the moment when Calistani went really out of gas. Let's hear. You see, yeah, look at Calistani's
He's trying
car.
to let him past, I think. It's Calistani.
That was a weird ending to the race. But once again, people should join this league because it's never, it's always in doubt, and until the final corner, I mean, this race seemed to be in the bag for Calestani, and then we had this crazy end to this race, and now, while the mystery still looms large over these final couple of corners of the race, we can go through the final race results.
Yes, and Matteo Calistani, well, he dominated for how many laps was he completed? Well, the first 35 laps for him, or the first 34 and a half, were plain sailing, not an issue in the world. The last 1.5 laps got pretty tight for him. He splutters across the line to win his second race of the afternoon. Byron Daly finishes in second place. Just the mistake, getting too close to Calistani and spun into the wall. He did pretty well to finish in second place in the end. Alessandro Roccatello finished on the lead lap. Could have done with those two maybe blowing their engines right at the end, but not quite. But that's still his best result of the season. Thomas Knoll had an issue early on. He finishes in fourth and had another issue actually about mid-race. Massimo Berta was 2 laps down in fifth. And then the retirees were Cudmore, Wilson, and Newton. Of course, that was completely Marco's fault that Scott Newton didn't finish the race. Of course, we do sometimes have interviews with drivers, and I think we are going to get one. We will first chat with Scott Newton, and Scott, really unlucky out there. Did you feel Marco's curse as it latched onto your car and speared you into the wall?
Hey Sam, not really to be honest, but to be honest, it's my own fault. Just getting a little bit too greedy on the power and looping it at the notorious turn 5. So it's all obviously a lot easier to do it in this car due to the fact that it's 550 horsepower or something like that. Going to the rear wheels, and normally it doesn't really happen in other cars that I've driven, but yeah, this one. As soon as you have too much lock and too much throttle, yeah, you pay the price, and unfortunately, that was the case. But also, I had a bit of contact at the same corner on lap 1 as well. Just trying to watch out for the car in front of me, but yeah, got tagged in the back, and that's how I was 10 seconds back within half a lap of the start.
Yeah, we saw that instant. You were super unlucky in that situation. Just take us through what happened in qualifying, because you qualified down in 9th place, didn't set a lap time. Did you just get 2 invalidated laps?
No, the reason why I got, well, the reason why I started from the back of the grid was because of the fact that I had the DRS open in the final corner, and yeah, it looped around, and yeah, the fact that I crossed the line to start the second lap means I couldn't complete the other lap because I would have had to have crossed the line, and that would have started lap number 3, and you only get 2 laps. So that's why I started at the back. But yeah, to come through the field and at least be on the pace with the front 2 was promising, given the fact that the only practice that I did for this race was in the practice session before the race. So I was just thankful that I had a solid baseline to run with in the race today, and yeah, it would have been interesting to see how we're going in race 2, because my fastest race lap that I had completed for the accident was quicker than Calistani and Daly's up until about lap 10. So it would have been interesting to see whether I would have caught the gap, given the fact that Calistani had his issues on the final lap, and also I saw that Daly had a bit of an issue as well. Like, even though you visually can't see that the DRS is open, when you're turning that amount of lock and the DRS open, yeah, it's gonna spin. So that's what my take on that little incident with Daly, which is unfortunate because he was really on the pace today and certainly deserved that feature win.
Yeah, it was quite a finish to the race. Next time we go to Interlagos, have you got much experience with that car track combination, and is it one that you tend to go well round?
In other categories, I've had it's fairly distant success, both in the Formula Renault 2.0 and the Williams FW31. So to be in the Formula Renault 3.5, it's a bit of a middle ground. So yeah, we'll see how the participation is next week, and yeah, I will be turning up next week. So certainly hope to do well next week.
Yeah, it's been good to watch you today, Scott, and we'll see you next week.
No worries, so cheers for that, Sam.
So I think that's pretty much going to be us over for today. And of course, tomorrow we have got the World GT Championship and also the Masters as well. Tuesday we've got the Masters as well. Wednesday, ILMS, and of course, World F3 Championship as well. And of course, next week on Sunday, we will be back with this series. And yeah, should be very good at Interlagos for round 8 of the championship. So for now, from me and from Mark as well, we'll say goodbye and we will see you next time.